Hello and welcome back to the Only Fools Love Horses YouTube channel, episode 5 of our anti-post series. It's going well so far, fingers crossed. We picked up a few nice horses that are shortened up for the races. Echoes in Rain last week, 12-1, now into 6s, and I'm sure I'll talk to Harry a little bit more about that because he was one who was fairly against it. Now, Dublin Racing Festival has been and gone. We're recording this on Monday night after the Dublin Racing Festival. Some upsets from the Willie Mullins yard, Mighty Potter dominant in the Novice Chase, and a lot more to talk about. And we're talking about it with the usual people and our guest, Diarmuid Nolan from Racehour, the Racehour founder. Diarmuid, how are you on this fine evening?
Yeah, Ash, all good, all good. Thanks for having me, gents. Looking forward to this. What a weekend of racing that was, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's really, really good. Some nice performances. What would you say was your favourite of the weekend?
Mighty Potter. I absolutely adore this horse, and I've been on about him for a long time. I really thought he'd be Constitution Hill last year, which was slightly wrong, but he was just brilliant. I love the fact that there's still so much improvement there with him, Ash. He's a horse that his jumping's still not perfect. It really isn't, but he's swatting everything aside so easily that it's just not hard to envisage that if he ever jumped perfectly in a round, he leaves everything in that division way behind. I think he's very special.
There's definitely a few fences where he could have sort of brushed up on it, but he was devastating. And I agree with you there for the Supreme. I tell you, I was all over him, and then he was a little bit disappointing. Punchestown 20-1, got a little bit of that, and I feel me and you must be sort of like co-founding members of the fan club. I must say, like,
most definitely
as well. Yeah. And a dream to share as well. Another one you backed. I also was on that horse as well. He was really nice in the bumper.
Really nice. I only got lucky now backing him. Brian Hayes put it up on the bookmakers.co.uk article I co-write. And he was just tweeting it because he lives with Patrick Mullins, and Patrick Mullins was saying that he left him for dead one day and was just blown away by him. Really loved him. And I just love that, Gleeson had to wake him up there turning in and kind of, get him to go about his business. And then once he did, it was a devastating turn of foot. Strikes me a bit as Dunguibis-esque. I think as much as if Willie has a good start to the festival, his bumper horses will really start to shorten, and I think this lad's going to take an awful lot of stopping in the bumper. John Kiley every now and then gets a really good one, and I think this one could be well up there for him.
Yeah, fingers crossed. We're going to be talking about the champion bumper later on. We're going to be talking about the Triumph as well, where Lossiemouth finished second to stablemate Garland Massot. And another horse who was beaten for Willie Mullins was Facile Vega. Mr. Tattoo Harry Beard had an absolute nightmare there. We'll get to him as he turns around. But Diarmuid, first of all, Facile Vega, he seemed to empty out sort of like there was really something wrong with him there. Nothing's come out yet, and Willie's saying there's a race against time to get him back for the Supreme. What did you make of the race in general, of the winner, Ilete Tom and Facile Vega?
It was strange. This has happened a few times to Paul Townend. Paul Townend, in my opinion, is the best jockey there is around the UK and Ireland. I think he's outstanding. But this also happened to him before with Allaho against Indo at the festival. There's just been a few cases of this. It can't get away from the fact that this happened with Danny Mullins. Danny Mullins went ballistic on Dysart Dynamo. Like, that was absolutely crazy. So there's a few occasions where the Willie Mullins yard, I think this boils down to something very simple. I think that Facile Vega and a lot of Willie Mullins horses, Blood Destiny is going to be another one. I think he gets an awful fight at Cheltenham. We'll talk about that later. But they're getting freebies all the time because Irish horses, a lot of them are waiting for handicaps. They don't want to get too close. So yeah. Facile Vega went ballistic. It was stupid how quick he went. But I think sometimes these Willie Mullins horses get a bit of a fright turning in then when something gets to them and something's there beside them. Ilete Thomas deserves an awful lot of respect for coming off that pace and winning as he did, but it's been compared with the Stateman pace, but the Stateman pace is below average. So it's just very hard to get a grasp as to what actually happened there. I'd say Facile Vega is definitely better than that, but I've been saying all year on the Racehour podcast that I've been happy to take this horse on all season. And once I got to Cheltenham, he's good, but it's just hard to know how good he is, and it's hard to know how bad he is. That run needs to be dismissed, but that has to have left a mark on him, Ash. It just has to.
Yeah, I kind of agree on that one. It's really gonna be interesting to see how he comes out and the performance. There's a lot talking about Paul Townend and the comments Willie made. You know, I feel like there was a slight overreaction on it all. I went on to Twitter now and Lossiemouth lost, and I saw people going, Townend, he's always been in Ruby's shadow, all that. I was thinking, I was just like scrolling through, and I thought that's absolute rubbish, personally. But you know, it's one of them, and you know, people have their opinions. It's whether you choose to comment on them. Harry, Facile Vega, obviously you are a massive fan, probably up there, one of the members of the fan club.
I've got to be leading this fan club, surely, at this point. It's beyond a joke. Listen, I do feel sick. I woke up this morning, I went to uni, and the drive there and walking in the cold, knowing that Facile Vega got beat yesterday, was the most horrific walk-in I've ever faced in my life. I feel sick for the poor thing, but listen, people nail Paul Townend, right? They've nailed him all weekend. One of my biggest compliments is letting him roll home in his own time, because listen, he was beaten fair and square. When he turned in, it was quite adamant and quite evident that he was going to get nowhere near. I know the sectionals are being compared, etc., but listen, he's a different horse. We know he's better than that. He came up the hill strong last time in the champion bumper. He's still the one that I'm signing with. And listen, if it got to that Supreme, if it got to fast one, and the money's come back in for Facile Vega, I will certainly be cheering him on. So for me, 7-2, GSE's a wheelbarrow job. Ignore all the haters. The founder of the fan club says he wins at the Supreme. So come on, Facile Vega.
He just doesn't learn, unfortunately. He really doesn't. We try, ladies and gentlemen watching, we do try with Harry sometimes, but sometimes he just gets a little bit carried away. Anyway, Lee, Dublin Racing Festival, before we get on into the races, really impressive performances throughout the week, and overall, despite what Graham Rodway may say, a brilliant weekend's action.
No, it looked great, and the atmosphere looked great as well. Everyone was happy. There's plenty of English went over and come back merry. So yeah, look, it was a good weekend. I only come out level, so it wasn't too great on the punting front. Blue Lord was a big reversal, and obviously Facile, I thought he'd go and win. That pace was ridiculous, and look, we can get Facile Vega changed to Vega on Harry's backside, I'm sure.
Listen, lads, he went that quick because he's that good. He sets extreme sectionals because he is that fast.
Look, he shouldn't. He came home well as well, didn't he?
He did. Well, high definition. Ashley's going on about high definition and beating. Listen, high definition couldn't jump a plank, never mind a hurdle. So I think you should get rid of him out of your slips. We'll move on, because I'm not getting any more riled up. We've been filming for about 5 minutes and you've already got me nibbling. So I'm moving on.
Just to confirm, Harry's saying that high definition had a worse performance there because he unseated and didn't get round, even though
he did not jump one. He nearly fell at the first. And he unshipped at the fifth. So, oh man, I knew.
Reel
fed up.
Anyway, we'll go on to the race where Harry actually had a good time with Facile Vega, the Grade 1 champion bumper. We'll start with this race, and it looks very open, and it's good to see these Cheltenham Festival races open. And after the weekend, I'll probably say there's more open ones than there are closed ones now. It's, for me, Willie Mullins 7-2 topping the market, a dream to share. And we will talk more about this horse. We've already covered about it for John Kiley, 7-1. Chapeau de Soleil for Willie Mullins, 8's in there. Fun, 8-1. Very unlikely, I'd say, that he goes to champion bumper. Patrick Mullins bred the horse, and they may be potentially looking at Aintree so he can actually make the weight. They've also, Same Connections have got It's For Me in there, so whether they want to run two in the same, be interesting. And you've got the mare's bumper at Aintree, Queen's Gamble 8s, Better Days Ahead 12s. Diarmuid, will come to you first. As I said, really open champion bumper. You can, if you find one, you probably get quite a nice price about it. I know you're a fan of A Dream to Share. Is he going to be the one that you're sort of captaining the boat on for this champion bumper?
Yeah, I'm not the biggest believer that any of Willie's are actually that great bumper horses this season. It's For Me looks excellent, but again, it's just so hard to know. It's Willie's horses in Ireland tend to get kind of freebies out in front at times, and they just kick, and it's just very hard to know. It's For Me has been outstanding, but still, it's very short considering A Dream to Share kicked them all asunder that day, really. King of Kingsfield was one that I was big on all season. It's just a pity that it just hasn't worked out for him. He's a lot better than he's shown so far. They really thought for quite a long time now that he was quite special down in Gordon's. So he's definitely one to be following there. But as far as he goes now, a dream to share. I just think that's the strongest form. A fact, the file ran his race. Like the horse that was well backed ran his race. He just couldn't live with the speed of this horse finishing. And in a champion bumper, you need to stay, but you also need that turning gear to get away from the field. You're looking at the likes of a Silver Concord. You're looking at the likes of a Dunguib. You need to be able to get to the top of that, and you need to be able to kick. And Facile Vega had that, definitely had that. So it's maybe Facile Vega could win an Ascot Gold Cup at some point or something, because he won't be winning a Supreme anyway. Sorry, Harry. But I think a dream to share is definitely the one to back here. And I wouldn't be taking 6-1. I just think with that yard, that horse, in my opinion, will drift. So I think that he'll be 7-1 on the day. I'd say 1 or 2 Willies will definitely fly in. So I wouldn't be taking that price just yet, but he's definitely the one to beat at.
Yeah, he was definitely very good. Topping sort of towards the top of the market now, sort of thrown in out of nowhere. He is there, a dream to share. Sorry, 7-1. Harry, will come to you. You obviously had a very good success with the bumper last season. Have you found one at an equally bigger price that you are a bit of a fan of?
Well, do you know what? Diarmuid gave me shit in the last 5 minutes, but for what? Do you know what? I am actually sticking up for him here. And do you know what? When we get down to the final stage of this video and we come on to the naps, this is the nap of the week, and it is a dream to share. Now, if this horse was either Mullins or Elliott, it would be half the price and it would be favourite, and it would probably go in and he'd be smashed off the board and probably go in. I think he's the most likely winner from what we've seen out of a bad bunch this year, in my personal opinion. Now, if you just go off that race from Saturday, I should say. Now, in 2019, On Fire Alone won it for Gordon Elliott, then went on to win at Cheltenham. 2020, Appreciate It won the race for Mullins. He was then second. 2021, Kilcrup, he was second. 2022, Facile Vega went on to win it. 2023, A Dream to Share, and he's 8-1 currently. I don't know whether he's 8-1 or 7-1. He's around that price. I think he is a massive, massive price. He was so good. Now, he beat I think there was 3 or 4 in that race on Saturday who were coming into it unbeaten. Smashed them out of the park. The only one that got close to him was Factor File, but he was standing in water by the end of the game. He just went straight past him, so I won't even bother about him. I can't see Factor File reversing the form. The 5 had won a bumper before, so it's good, strong form. Patrick Mullins was on the second. He mentioned they went a little bit too slow. So I did a little bit of pace angles just for the race. Now, it's for me. He was prominent last time out. He'd probably be likely near the pace, but he'd probably want to be suited by a test of stamina if it came up, coming up the hill. Fun. Aintree bound. I know Patrick Mullins was on about it yesterday. Chapeau de Soleil, I should say. I'm not sure on that pronunciation, so we'll ignore that one. But this horse definitely wants a test of stamina. Now, he led last time the whole way around, got outpaced when it turned into a sprint. And if you get outpaced coming up the hill by horses such as Queen's Gamble and a Dream to Share, listen, I think there's only going to be 2 horses in that, and that leads me to Queen's Gamble and a Dream to Share. And I think the most likely winner of this race is a Dream to Share at this minute. And 8-1 or 7-1 around that price, that horse would be my nap of this week.
Wow, thank you very much, Harry. Bold statements. I have a question quickly for you, Harry, before we go on. I can ask the same question to Diarmuid. If I know it's a cliche, now I know it's a complete and utter cliche on Twitter, on preview nights and everything, but if this horse was trained by Mullins and he is currently 7-1 that I'm seeing there, would he be shorter, and how much shorter do you think, in your opinions, would he be? I'll throw it to Harry first.
Oh, he'd be favourite. He'd be clear favourite. If he was either Mullins or Elliott, and then there's no way you'd see 7-1 about this horse. The way he quickened up. Facile Vega did the same last year. He quickened up like a good thing and went and absolutely bolted in. And I think he was 11-10 at this stage. I think he was about 11-10, 11-8, around that price. And now you're getting 7-1 about a horse who's just made probably decent horses for the future look ordinary in that. So I think if it turned into a sprint off a slow pace, because I can't really see the pace angles on from the champion bumper, I think this horse has got a proper chance.
No, Dermot, obviously there is the case that if he is trained by Willie or Gordon, they are top trainers, but John Kiley is a very good operator himself. Would you say that there'd be a big price difference in, say, if he was trained by someone like Willie or Gordon? Because that is the cliche, but I suppose it might apply for a horse who's 7-1 for what Harry said. Facile Vega won last season and was 11-10.
Oh yeah, it should. But sure, same thing. Impervious in the Mare's Chase should be clear favourite for that race, and she's not, because she's trained by Murphy rather than by Mullins. But it does count for something. There is a reason why he's Willie Mullins, and there is a reason why John Kiley has the yard he is. John Kiley's one of the shrewdest trainers around, but Willie Mullins is Willie Mullins. Gordon Elliott is Gordon Elliott. There's an old Irish kind of saying that a rising tide brings up all boats. And that is the case. And Willie Mullins' yard, just those horses are working at home with such special horses that, it does make a big difference here.
Yeah, no, definitely. It was a valid point to sort of bring up there. Lee, yourself, anything for the champion bumper? 2 strong votes for a dream to share. Would you be rowing in for a third?
I wouldn't be. I wasn't as keen. Look, impressive enough, but I don't know if the race is worth a whole ton. That's the only thing. I've backed Queen's Gamble. I thought she was definitely overpriced. She's coming a bit now, but I think she wasn't like maybe he's on the same radar like you see as a Willie Mullins horse. So she kind of went missed in the market. I think she was still like around 10s or something. I think she might be around 6s or 7s now. She's coming a bit, but I just think she was super impressive. She was one on the track, and for Oliver Sherwood, I think does she go this weekend, maybe, or next?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
market raising, isn't it, Chip?
Yeah, market raising. So we'll find out more about her.
You won't find out more. You won't find out more about the horse. She absolutely dot up. And if she can't beat those by whoever she does race against, if she doesn't beat them by five or so lengths and win easy. If you're saying,
look, you need these horses out to then see how fit they are and that they're still working well. You know what I mean? I'd rather have I get the run and see where she's at than not see her at all. That's the only thing. So Queen's Gamble, I do like. I think Better Days Ahead is probably still going to be a decent horse for Gordon. Obviously, beat Willie's the last day. Maybe he's a bit overpriced at 16s, and that King is Kingsfield. Obviously, there was good mention for that horse. Flopped the last day. If you can forgive a horse a run, I think around 40s on the exchanges is available. It's probably a massive overprice, to be fair. So King of Kingsfield would be the overpriced one. Better Days Ahead, I do like, but I would definitely be on Queen's Gamble for Oliver Sherwood.
Thank you very much, Lee. I'd say I roam with the lads on a dream to share. Maybe not a case of saying that he's what like Harry saying nap of the week.
Nap of the week is a bit dramatic. Right?
I think Harry's just in that
this week he's the nap of the week.
Oh, this week. Right. Well, we can calm down on that one.
I'm not that mad. I'm gonna assure you all that are watching this, I'm not a Fruit Loop.
No, I thought he was quite good. Yeah, I really did think the performance was quite really, really good. And what I tried to stress on the last video we did, right, where I sort of put him up at 20s anti-post, was that his win at Roscommon, although he was priced at 9-2 on, he was expected to do that. If you actually watch his run, he looks in an awful lot of trouble, and he just finds it. It's just something just clicks in his head, and he finds it, and he absolutely skates in. Gleason there, John Gleason, brilliant guy, by the way. Spoke to him for the first time ever. 18-year-old little kid, and he's fantastic, really. So big ups to him on that one. And I thought he was absolutely mustard on him. So I'd say of the top, he's quite nice. I heard some sort of murmurs from people I was speaking to that they spoke to Rich Ritchie and stuff. They said they still hold Chapeau de Soleil in really, really high regard, even though he was beaten the last day. Obviously, I know they're going to say that, but he was more towards the comments of Rich Ritchie saying that he's saying 8-1, sort of a fair big price now.
Did he say that when he was on the bus or not?
That was a great video.
When he was rocking on the bus, he must have told everyone.
No, I actually heard it on the first day now before he got on that bus. But yeah, so he might be sort of one, but I personally wouldn't see the angle on it. There was 2 that I liked. I love Queen's Gamble, by the way, as a horse. I think 8-1's fair, so for an anti-post perspective, probably not. There was 2 I thought that'd be interesting. Slade Steele for Henry de Bromhead. I really like the way he won the last day at Punchestown. Was forced massively wide around the bend, about 3 wide. Usually that knocks horses out to the boundary and they don't really find much, but he found plenty. Beat Captain Cody and Blizzard of Oz by a fairly comfortable half a length. Those two have then come out the next day and actually finished 1-2 in a race after that. I think in the new year, Captain Cody beat Blizzard of Oz by about 6 lengths, if I remember correctly. So the form has been frank there. So that's Henry de Bromhead, Slade Steele. And call me silly, Harry, because I know it's going to be you who's going to call me silly. Call me silly, but 20-1 about Encanto Bruno is not the worst price in the world. A Cheltenham bumper winner, has beaten none other than strong leader for Ollie Murphy, who's won 3 times already and is 25-1 for the Supreme Hurdle. A lot of people really like Taiwan on the other weekend, was it on last week at Southall, bolting up by 15 lengths, and that was a nice horse. And I really like the way he travelled through, just absolutely kept galloping up that hill. So I thought if you're looking for sort of that course form angle with established form in behind with strong leader, I'd say Encanto Bruno is not the worst one in the world personally.
The absolute shrewd man at this moment, Andrew Blair White. He has tipped every single winner you can think of. He loves this horse. So listen, I can completely agree with you. I might call you silly every other time you speak, but for this one, I can really see the case. So I think he's a nice price as well. What price is it?
20-1. Can't believe that.
Nice price.
Get a tattoo with it.
No, I'm not. There's one thing my mum told me actually, because she knew about your thing, Harry, and she said, Ash, whatever you do, you can make your own decisions, make your own mistakes. She said, never get a horse tattooed on your body.
Never turn out like Harry. Look what my parents have done.
I think Facile Vega on the weekend has just shown you why you shouldn't do it, shall we say, Harry? We'll move on to the next race, the Grade 1 Turners Novices Chase, and I suppose the first horse we're going to delve into is Mighty Potter. Both me and Diarmuid are massive fans of him, as are plenty of people, and we'll just stick with him first. Diarmuid, we said that his jumping does need a bit of polishing, but his form really works out. The Cheltenham race, you put a complete line through. I'm fairly sure now he actually went through a rail on the way to the start, if I remember correctly, and an absolutely battered 4 out. That was race over. They're actually saying on the weekend he should have been pulled up straight away, but they tried to persist and then it just wasn't working for them. But Mighty Potter, he looks a worthy favourite, and just in general, he looks a proper horse of Gordon Elliott.
Diarmuid, that's twice.
That's all we know. The Irish have this division. Like Dean Ryan on the Racehour podcast fucking murders me as well for that. But the adamantly chosen, I think, is a placing chance in this, and I just love the way that he was put away so well by Mighty Potter with the rest of the field. Mighty Potter still has his bits to work on, but he's just so good. I thought Banbridge in the Irish Arkle was one that ran through really well. He'll be one to be in your forecast with Mighty Potter. I just don't think he's as good as Mighty Potter. I think Mighty Potter will take the world of stopping. As far as a reverse forecast goes, I will be having him and Banbridge, but the one maybe for people on the day who'll be a huge price, absolutely huge price, will be that Adamantly Chosen, as I mentioned. I think Mighty Potter wins the race, but Adamantly Chosen is something that an awful lot of the others don't, in that Brian Hayes seems to have mastered how to ride this horse. He rides him way off the pace. He just absolutely miles off it, and he comes through. His form with Jerry Colombe took a massive boost at Sandown. He was second behind him at Christmas, second again here. And all it takes for a horse like Adamantly Chosen to win a race like that at 50-1 or 66-1 is the pace at the front to collapse. It takes a Mighty Potter falling, a horse needing to take it up, and all of a sudden a horse from the back. There's not a whole lot of horses coming off the pace. For some reason nowadays, everything wants to go from the front, every single horse. So having a horse like Adamantly Chosen, who, like, as they started falling away, as James de Burleigh kind of disappointed, and as they started collapsing back to field, Adamantly Chosen was still 2 or 3 lengths behind him, was still just picking up as he went. So definitely for the viewers, the winning bet is Mighty Potter. Any other answer is wrong. But the from a place point of view, Adamantly Chosen is a cracking bet on the day, particularly at around 50-1, I think.
Yeah, I'd say his price will fairly hold now, so I'm sure you'd be able to back him whenever. And adamantly chosen, yes. I feel like that's a nice angle into it. I sort of rated this horse ever since he's gone over fences this season. I thought he was, fairly decent behind Mighty Potter. There was half of me that thought, if they have a little look at his mark, they assess it. Is there am I right in saying, Dermot, there's a novice handicap chase at the Punchestown Festival? Am I right?
Yeah, and that race, lads on Balco de Flo was placed in that before he went on to win a Galway plate. That race tends to lead in beautifully. The Galway plate now in Ireland is one of obviously the most vicious handicaps there is. That novice handicap chase tends to lead itself into that at Galway. So I can see Willie Mullins keeping this horse in Grade 1 company until Punchestown. At least I could even see him keeping this horse in Grade 1 company, picking up place money until Galway. And I think Adamantly Chosen could take a world of stopping in something like a Galway plate. I think he'd stream away with it. But Willie Mullins is great for. He did this with Les Dance before in a Triumph market. What he's great at doing is, why not just keep him running? If Adamantly Chosen does pick up a Grade 1, brilliant. If not, we'll take a handicap at some point with him. But I definitely think he'll be going for the Turners. The reason why as well he'll definitely go for the Turners is he was probably one of Willie's best, apart from Alfa Biol, he was probably his best novice runner of the weekend. So you can't be going handicap hunting when your own novice chasers don't look all that great. Because I don't think Willie Mullins wins a single novice chase at the Cheltenham Festival. Not one.
Not even with Alfa Biol.
No, I think John Bond beats him. So I don't think I think Malheur Mission will beat Gaillard de Maynil in the 4-miler, and I think if Jerry Colombe goes, which is far from certain, I think he wins that race doing handstands. So it's I don't think Willie has a single one. So I think Willie Mullins all of a sudden after last weekend needs all hands on decks as far as it comes to these Grade 1s.
Yeah, it would be the worst shout there. Lee, Turners, Mighty Potter. I think it's fair to say would be my fancy for this, but he's no working man's price. What would you be liking in the Turners currently? Is there anything at a bigger price you want to be taking Mighty Potter on with, or is it a case of down the straight and narrow?
Well, look, I'm already on a 10s. I did mention in the Racehour there. I'm already on a 10, so I'm happy with that. And I've done the double up. I think I got about 13-2. I think was to win yesterday and then win it. So I'm happy with them tickets. But one of the bigger price, I was looking yesterday, and Gentleman's Game for Mouse Morris is 55s on the exchanges, which I think is a massive price because they've got Jerry Colombe for Robco going the 3-miler. So maybe they might put this horse in the Turners. Won over 2.5 the last day. Was off a long break. Could have ran at the weekend. Was declared it for the weekend there, but is probably just going to go fresh. Is in the Turners and the 3-miler, so they could run it there. I think it does want to step up and trip, but just with Robco having Jerry Colombe, if he goes to 3-miler, they might switch Gentleman's Game for Mouse into the Turners. So 55s on the exchange, I think, is a massive price after winning well the last day. But I'm all over Mighty Potter. I think he's a good bet, to be fair. And even at this price, it's difficult to see what you would back against them. The likes of James de Burley bombed out the other day. Look, there's plenty in behind which have not performed well. So look, Mighty Potter to weave some magic, and Gentleman's Game for Mouse Morris at a big price.
Yeah, no, it looks like it's going to be Mighty Potter all around. But nice little shout there for Gentleman's Game. You've sort of mentioned the 10-1 there. I was on at bigger prices. I don't like to after time on Twitter, but Pete at Risk for Rewards did a fantastic job of after timing for me. He put up on Twitter that I put 12-1 up for Mighty Potter at the start of the season, so that was all right. Harry, Turners, what would you be liking?
Listen, if you go there and you think Mighty Potter, if he reproduces that performance and improves a tiny bit from yesterday, I think he'd basically be the banker of the week, wouldn't he? Because what beats him? I think the division bar him is relatively poor and not up to his standards. I'd say there is one that I do like. It ran at the weekend against Jerry Colombe. Now, listen, I thought that Jerry Colombe was superb. Balco Coastal was second to Jerry Colombe, and I did a little of RPRs. Now, Jerry Colombe's RPR was 160 on Saturday, and Mighty Potter's was 161. So it doesn't seem that there's a lot between those RPRs. And Balco Coastal jumped like an absolute buck, and he just got outstayed up the running by a proper 3-miler. Now we know Jerry Colomb is probably going to go to the Brown Advisor if it turns up soft. He would definitely be the banker of the week. If that turned up soft, he would take so much beating in that. But Balco Coastal, listen, jumped like a buck. I was really impressed, and he proved to me. He doubted. I put him up. I thought he may be able to beat Jerry Colomb on that ground on Saturday, but he just got outstayed. I think if it turned out to be,
week, was it lay of the weekend?
No, he was. I said that he was my lay of the week if the ground was quick.
Look, I'm just getting a dig in because Jerry is my horse, right? So just to get a little dig in, you said
that's fine. That's fine. I stand by my sword. I don't give 10 shades of shite when anyone thinks about
Harry's
it.
up against the ropes this week.
Sword.
Jesus, Facile Vega, Jerry Colomb.
No, it's a nightmare, right? It's a nightmare. But Balco Coastal, he is a massive price. He's about 30 to 1 on the exchange. If he turned up, he could run into a place, especially because his jumping is so good, and that would stand him in really good stead. But Mighty Potter, if this field cut up, he'd be the banker of the week.
Yeah, it looks like Mighty Potter is all around.
And it pains me to say that. It pains me to say that because that's yours. That is yours. And that is basically a guaranteed winner. But no, I salute you, Ash. I do. Credit where it's due. You put this horse up at 12 to 1, and he's done absolutely nothing wrong. And listen, I'd said it to everyone. You should have had a tattoo on your rear end like I have, because you backed him at 20 to 1 at Punchestown and you didn't. So listen, you could have 12 to 1 for the Turners. I'll take it to Zante. And you can have this. You can have it done.
I've just remembered I forgot to put out one crucial tweet after Mighty Potter won. After Brave Man's Game, I think, won the novice hurdle at Christmas, when Brave Man's Game was novice hurdle. Josh Stacey put out a tweet saying Brave Man's Game wins the 2022 King George, and that was a nice little sort of thing for him there. I was gonna say that Mighty Potter wins the 2024 Gold Cup. It's too late for me to tweet it out now. I'll mention on this video. I've mentioned it before, actually. I'll go through the videos, actually. I'll spend a day. I'll go through the videos. I've mentioned this horse of the Gold Cup. I know it's absolutely crazy. And do, comment if you like, but it's absolutely crazy. I've mentioned him for the Gold Cup before, and I think a few people have started to cop on now, and, he looks a proper one. I would be doing my job properly if I didn't try and find some fun bets, shall we say, for the Turners, because it looks like Mighty Potter is going to win this. I say he's got a right chance now. He probably by most fancied sort of horse to actually go and win. There's two I like, and they're both 50 to 1. And I'll mention the first one. He's 66 actually, and I think it could be more suited for the Brown Advisory. We've already covered the Brown Advisory. And Harry, you can now start to laugh if you want. Okay, you can honestly, I'll give you free rein to laugh at this horse. But I think that Wonderwall for Richard Spencer.
For God's sake.
I think Wonderwall for Richard Spencer is potentially overpriced for the Brown Advisory. Now, I know we're doing Turners. And I should put up a horse with the Turners, but I think he might just do a little bit better to stay on now. But Wonderwall, I feel like if you go back and watch his run at Newbury, that ground at Newbury was quick.
Listen, he couldn't even get past. He travelled all over him and finished tailed off.
That ground was quick. A lot of trainers have come out and said it. Paul Nicholls has said that ground was quick that weekend, and that wouldn't have suited him at all. But he did really well to travel into the race. He looked like the winner jumping free out against Sebastopol. Looked like the winner, just didn't like the ground. Before that,
Sebastopol, Ash.
Look, hear me out, right? Hear me out. He fell at Huntington in LA Bell's win. He's beaten City Chief, who has come out and won some nice novice chases. And I think he wants a bit of a distance. If he goes to the Brown Advisory, which I see no reason why Richard Spencer wouldn't want to send into the Brown Advisory, 66 to 1 could be overpriced. I'll get to the other horse. I think Lac de Constance, 50 to 1 for the Turners, looks a bit overpriced. This is the only race he's going for. Race he's entered for. Unseated rider when last seen behind Boots Hill. Before that, absolutely dossed up to beat Hudson de Grugy, Ben Ballin before that, and novice hurdle. I think he's a nice one, Lac de Constance. I think he's just a little bit overpriced at 50 to 1, but it's all over the mighty Potter for the right ones. Go on, the Potter, and we'll move on to the Triumph Hurdle. Now, again, big talking points was Lossiemouth, obviously beaten by stablemate Gala Massot after being hampered by owner mate. The horse's name escapes me now. Well, she's 15-8 now for the Triumph Hurdle, having been very short. Blood Destiny, same stable, 3-1. Gala Massot, 5s. Comfort Zone, 10s. Scriptwriter, 16s. Diarmuid, would come to you first. Would you be a forgiving man about Lossiemouth for the Triumph Hurdle in March?
Long term, yes. Short term, no. So long term, you have to be forgiving of that. She was the best horse in that race by a mile, and I'd imagine she's the best horse in the division by a good bit. Just that performance at Farriers when she beat Zarek the Brave, who it has to be remembered that Paul Townend picked him over Lossiemouth that day. Comfort Zone was in third that day. She beat them going wide at Ferryhouse, which is an impossible thing, not impossible, but very hard thing to do. She went wide that whole day. That's a serious performance to do that. She's a serious mare. Paul Townend, I'd be more critical of him for this ride than for Facile Vega. And I just think he just should have pulled her up. I know he's a job to try and win every race, but it was gone at that point. Jack Foley on the other Rich Ritchie horse really kind of let the whole cause down there. But anyway, no, definitely taking her on. The other Willie Mullins horse as well, Destiny. He's I'm not mad about him either. Like he's very good. I just think he'd be better over further in time. I think this could stay with the home team here. I like, as of this evening, I like Scriptwriter for this race. I thought last time at Cheltenham, I thought Paddy Brennan gave that horse an absolute stones of a ride. I think he got there way too soon. I was of the opinion until tonight, and it's a great lesson to anybody in horse racing. I'll always say it. Don't trust your first instinct on a race. It's more than likely wrong. And I was completely convinced that Comfort Zone beat him all hands up very comfortably, was going to win by more. Went back and watched it again because Dean Ryan from the Racehour and Stephen Cass were kind of persuading me. Just watch it again. And he does. He gets there. He's pulling double. He's traveling way better than Comfort Zone. And then Comfort Zone out battles him because that's the kind of horse he is. Scriptwriter is rated 107 on the level. Takes that to jumping. Milton Harris has him jumping well now. Yeah, 16-1 or so on Scriptwriter. Considering I don't like the front of the market, I think he's better than Comfort Zone. I think he'll improve a good bit for that run. Yeah, Scriptwriter. I putting up a rare UK-based horse here, and I like Scriptwriter definitely. Yeah.
I can almost see the Union Jack in the background. I know it's blurry, but I can almost see you've got a big Union Jack behind you for the Scriptwriter there. I can see it there. Harry, a big beaming smile there when Scriptwriter was mentioned. Will you be talking about this horse as well for the Triumph?
He's got a bigger chance than I thought coming into this weekend, but I think he's got a bigger chance now that we know what's happened. Lossiemouth, it's going to take a lot for her to come back. I do think that if she turns up in one piece and it hasn't taken out, she's a wheelbarrow job. Like, she would win hands down if she's firing on all cylinders. I've mentioned it in a tweet. We learned more about Lossiemouth on Saturday when she got beat than what we would have known if she'd have just cruised around and won by 10 lengths on the bridle. We know what she's got under the bonnet. We know she stays on so well. And I know Willie Mullins was very critical of Townend's ride after the last scene. He shouldn't have given her a hard ride. I was surprised in that, but I wasn't surprised at the same time because the race was already gone jumping the last. There was no way Gala Massot was going to be caught from there. They're two good horses, don't get me wrong, but Lossiemouth, you'd expect to reverse those placings every single day of the week with a clear run. But Scriptwriter, listen, I just have a sneak feeling they won the Aintree race, the juvenile hurdle with Night Salute after that controversial Pied Piper run at the Aintree Festival. So I just think that he'd be primed for that race instead. So, well, obviously Night Salute was well beat in this race.
Here. I'll interject here. Milton Harris said after the last day that they'll be coming back to take on the winner. So I think it's all rose to Cheltenham, and they'll be trying to get him firing for that.
That's all fair and well. But I do think if they did turn up at Aintree, I would be all over him. I still love the horse. As those that are watching, they know I absolutely adore this horse. Would I be having a horse? have him each way. What is he, 12-1? I think that's a very fair price, especially when you got question marks about Blood Destiny coming here after a kind of a little break. Where is he coming? Is he having a prep run before he goes?
No.
Or so he's going there. He's going there fresh.
He's just recently ran. Really, he's not too far off. So I think he's just go straight there.
Yeah, well, listen, he beat Common Practice by 18 lengths, but we all know that's a Boodle's horse. So you don't know what to expect. Obviously, Willie took the Triumph out last year. He could have Blood Destiny firing on all cylinders and blow this race apart. So could Lossiemouth. It'd be a fascinating one too if those two turned up on all firing cylinders. I should say. I can't get any words out tonight. It's been a long day, I tell you honestly, with Facile Vega yesterday. But no, Scriptwriter's a big price. Could see him reversing those forms. But no, Lossiemouth for me. I'm sticking with my guns. If she turns up in one piece, she'll win it.
Thank you, Harry. Yeah, I agree with that. I thought I learned quite a lot from Lossiemouth on the weekend. I actually thought at one point coming around the bench she was going to do it, to be honest. She was travelling really well into the race, and then just the hindrance there, just, you know, she had to make up so much ground, just ran out of energy. So I actually did learn a lot. Again, it wouldn't be an anti-post perspective, A, because of the price, although I do think the price is really nice, and B, we don't know if she's going to come back in time. Like, it was a big run. Same with Facile Vega. Like, Willie Mullins is saying it might not make it back in time. It could just be a little bit of pessimism there from the master of Close Sutton. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see if she comes back. If she does come back, she's anything around this price. I think I'd probably say that's a betting price, in my opinion. Lee, Triumph Hurdle, would you be sticking with anything towards the top of the market, or has the weekend changed your opinion?
No, I just think you're just getting a better price about Lossiemouth, to be fair. If she had been got a clear run, then she'd probably be 4-6, yeah. And look, I don't think she got actually a hard job. She was trying to get obviously the winner, but look, she still would have been pushed out either way. She still would have wanted to win that Grade 1, and look, she got bumped as well. So she went to come round the pack there, and she got bumped, and it was a messy race. And I just think she's the best in it. It's hard to see anything in behind, to be honest. I normally would wait, to be honest, till after Kempton on the 25th of Feb to find a Triumph horse. It's probably the worst race of the week for me, but I can't see past her, to be fair.
Yeah, it's Lossiemouth does look, quite nice, even though taking in the weekend. And I'd be, there's an agreement a little bit tonight, but if I was going to play one, I'm not going to. Scriptwriter would be the way I'd go. I'd say the ride wasn't maybe the best last time out, but he does look a fair horse now. And to win at Wolves off 102, I know he's probably not beating that.
Was it not the ground the last day? I thought the ground swung the pendulum into the McManus horse's favour. That's the only thing. If it was a bit better ground, I thought Scriptwriter definitely would have won.
If potentially that could have helped him, but speaking to Milton after, I put out a tweet actually, and he said that the fact that this horse hit the front too soon, he'd been a lead horse for Ballydoyle, and it was sort of a little bit natural that because he'd been a lead horse, once he gets there early, he's sort of been like, it's naturally him dropping out, and that's just the way he is. So I think with a better ride, he would have done better. And he said that it wasn't the ground either. He was sort of like fairly persistent to stress that the ground isn't any of his worries here. It's more about how he got to the front too early. And again, taking that in, he's run an absolute belter, I think, here.
The pair pulled a mile clear. The pair pulled a good way clear of Dixon Cove, who I know she suffered an injury. But she's a good horse. Obviously, she was a good horse, but no, so I think Scriptwriter is a big price now. I keep looking at it.
Yeah, no, I think I'd say 16-1 now. That's what I'm seeing on my screen. It's rather big for a horse who's probably the best flat horse coming into this, and it seems to take it to hurdle as well. I feel like he was a little bit sort of just started to be a little bit calmer as well on trials day. Like when he won at Cheltenham, he looked like he was sort of going off. He was going to end up at Cleve Hill at one point, and then he sort of like, oh wait, we've got some course to go around. He actually went round. I thought he gave Paddy Brennan a really tough ride, but I thought he was just a little bit sort of, maybe calmer for Paddy. Maybe you have to ask him yourself, but like I thought he was a little bit better there. And yeah, I'd say 16-1. I say he's a fair horse now, and fingers crossed he can go and do something. That's the 3 races we've covered that we're going to cover this weekend. We've only got 3 more non-handicap races to cover, if I'm correct in saying that. So we'll do that next week, and then it's on to the handicaps after to get stuck into them. But we'll go over to the naps. Harry will hopefully have a naps table ready for me this week.
It is ready.
Thank you, Harry, helping out future editor Simmons there on that one. We'll go to Diarmuid first of all. We've had a fair few naps in from the guest team already. What would you be liking as your festival nap at this current stage?
Well, first of all, the spelling of Diarmuid there in the bottom left is probably a bit off. But the
I've just
secondly, it's absolutely fine. The horse I backed at the weekend, and a horse who I am getting very, very, very confident about, is Absolute Notions to win the Martin Pipe Handicap Hurdle. This horse was given a rating of 138 after what he did last weekend. He probably gets £6. That's up to 144. I wouldn't be surprised to see Keen Quirk booked. He'll probably be able to claim £4 in a conditionals race like that. So you'd be effectively having him running off 140. Anyone that doesn't know who Keen Quirk is by now, just go back and watch what he's been doing lately. He's absolutely ferocious pilot. But the definitely... you nailed it. Absolute Notions. 8-1, I think he is for the Martin Pipe, and now running no bet, at least he's 10-1 elsewhere. He's I think he'll take an absolute world of stopping that race.
He ran a really good race at the weekend, didn't he? Behind Good Land, really, really impressive.
Yeah, but they have 3-card Bragg and Favari de Chambeau. Gordon Elliott has, so I reckon this horse will end up in that handicap, and I'd say he'll win it easy enough, I think.
Very nice there. Martin Pipe shout from Diarmuid as it's on the screen there. There we go. Thank you very much. I'll go to Harry first of all. You've put up a couple of horses. Blue Lord obviously lost at the weekend. That's taken out 2 of your slots.
That was a bit of a stinger, that one. But it was too bad to be true, that one. And Paul Turner said he was never going. Fingers crossed he bounces back. I do think he's got it. I don't think the Champion Chase is that strong. I've seen people putting Nube Negra up. Like, come on. Like, seriously. But
anyway, your nap, Harry, just to remind the people.
Yes, I won the bumper last year. I'm not getting another tattoo. I can assure you that if I win this time. But a dream to share, I think, at 8-1 is a massive, massive price. Listen, the Future Stars race that he won has had some really nice horses win in recent years. Facile Vega, Kilcrot, Appreciate It, Envire Allen. They've all gone on to run well in the Champion Bumper. And I think 8-1, 7-1, if you fancy an each way play at that price, I certainly would not tempt you away from that, because listen, I think that form will probably turn out to be a decent race at Leopardstown last time. So for me, it's 7-1. I'm going with the race that I won last time, and it's a dream to share.
Yes, as you know, Harry has a very good record. You were actually riding Facile Vega, weren't you, in the race?
Oh, yeah.
You won it.
You carry on and I'll find you the video. Yeah, you carry on, I'll find you the
video. So it's dream to share for Harry, 8-1. Lee, yourself, currently at this stage, we've put up a few now. What will be this week's nap for the festival?
Well, I'm glad I've got Jerry Colom in there last week, so it's come in a bit shorter now. But I like Takeo for the Boodles, the McManus horse. I thought it was an interesting ride the other day, so end up 3rd behind Lossiemouth in the Grade 1 there, and hopefully get a good mark. And look, you only have to have 3 runs for the Boodles, whereas the rest of them are 4 for the handicap. So 3 runs for the Boodles, and I think it's an interesting type going into that race. I think it's probably been trained for the race, and Mr. McManus will have a few quid on as well. I think it's around 7-1, Ash. So I'll take Takeo for the Boodles.
Thank you very much. And I'll be putting up. I found it difficult again this week. Found it difficult last week. And then when I found Echoes in Rain, I've gone to the Gold Cup Obviously, we learned a little bit about the Gold Cup Galopin des Champs. Bookmakers actually pushing him out from a 5-4 to 7-4 for the race after he won the Irish Gold Cup. And I'm going to finally go in and pull the trigger on Conflated. I've been talking about this horse for a while now. I spoke about him before he won Savills at 50-1. If anyone listened, went on those Twitter lives, and I think there's one YouTube video I spoke about him as well. If anyone listened, fair play to you. I managed to take 40s, and now he's 12-1. I think that's a fair enough price now about a horse who we haven't seen since Christmas. So that's a potential good or bad thing. I know he was meant to go to the Irish Gold Cup. They took him out for ground reasons, I think was the reason given. But obviously the horse around him, Protectorat's been beaten. Always Senor has come back, but he's a little bit inconsistent. Statler's been beaten, but ran a fair enough race. Melelarindo, we don't know what's happening with him. They're the horses around him at the prices, and I think Conflated 12-1. I came out of the Irish Gold Cup, and Harry may not like this one, but I came out of the Irish Gold Cup more confident on Conflated after seeing Galopin des Champs run. And I'm a massive Galopin des Champs fan. I love the horse. Backed him for the Martin Pipe. Backed him all the way through. Backed him last year when he fell. But I just wasn't sold. I just really wasn't sold on him. He was very good after the last, but I thought he put in some interesting jumps here and now. He's sort of having a bit slow over his fences. I know that maybe not too bad in a Gold Cup as long as he gets over them. But yeah, I came out thinking a bit more confident on Conflated. So 12-1, I pulled the trigger on him. And
don't be silly. Don't be silly.
What am I being silly about now, Harry?
You taking on Galopin des Champs? No, he is basically the banker of the week, but he's too short. So listen, I was Conflated. You might get your each way place. So well done on your each way price.
Well, Harry said that a Dream to Share's banker of the week. He said that
I said he's
Mighty Potter's banker of the week, and now he's Galopin des Champs. How many bankers of the week are there?
Yeah, there's quite a few bankers going around. And listen, if a couple of them don't go in, it's going to be a long bloody week. I'm telling you that.
To be fair, Harry, with your form, I'd be listed. Oh, wait, maybe not. Yeah, so Conflate for me, 12-1. It's 10-1 with the non-runner money back firms. You know, if you want to take that, if you're maybe a little bit concerned about him being taken out of the Irish Gold Cup, take that as well if you want. But 12-1, I'd be happy with that. Audience nap will go up on the screens now. I'll find it from a tweet we've done in the past. The sort of most liked one. We'll put up a fresh tweet, I say, going into next week. So make sure to get your comments in on our tweets, even comment them down below in the YouTube video. And if it gets a fair few mentions, fair few likes, we'll be putting it in our video. So comment down below your nap of the week. But the nap will be going on screen here with the pointing in the right area, about here. Nap will be on the screen. So will the table. And that is the audience nap for the weekend. And that's all we got time for. We've done a rare 50-minute video there. Diarmuid, thank you very much for coming on, and I hope you enjoyed your debut on the Only Fools Love Horses YouTube channel.
Cheers, gents. Cheers, gents. It was fantastic. Great fun.
Wait, when's your preview going to be on?
The preview will be there, released around the 1st of March. We're never quite sure. It depends how good our producer is. So hopefully Cameron can have it all done by the 1st of March. We're hoping to have it released.
And Dermot, on Sundays, it's race hour 8 o'clock. Is that right?
8 p.m. Yeah, just again, just a Q&A basically. So just pop away in. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thanks for coming on anyway. It's been absolutely class.
Gents.
Yeah.
Thanks very much, gents. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you very much, Dermot. Make sure to go check out the Twitter and the preview when it's dropped out. Like and subscribe. Do follow us all on Twitter, as you can see on the screens there. Make sure to follow there. There'll be a YouTube video up later this week talking about the weekend's racing, Newbury Super Saturday, and we'll talk a little bit more about the Dublin Racing Festival. And make sure to check out our Saturday live, 10:30 a.m. Harry has got
110 likes we got last week. 110
oh yeah, the likes. The likes, yeah, thank you very much.
125.
Thank you for the likes.
125 this week, and I will destroy Ash next week for you all. So 125 this week, and it will happen again.
Harry, it's about 0-9. It's 0-9 that's not in your favour, Harry. So you can keep going if you want, but that's just carry on, son. No, please do like, subscribe, like the video, comment down below. We're verging towards, I know it's a long way away now, we're verging towards 1,000 subscribers. I think we're about 630. They've been picking up really nicely. So yeah, do please go ahead. Check out everyone. Check out Racehour. We'll be back on Saturday and Thursday. Thank you very much. Have a good week, and we'll see you next week.